Hi, welcome back to Lynn Reads, the channel where we share powerful insights and personal growth lessons through great books. What if I told you that a failing IT project could threaten an entire company's survival? In today's video, we're diving into the Phoenix Project, a gripping story that not only uncovers the chaos in IT operations, but also reveals the powerful transformation that can happen when DevOps principles are applied. Follow Bill, an IT manager who's thrust into a leadership role as he tackles the toughest challenge of his career, saving the Phoenix Project and, ultimately, his company. Ready to learn how DevOps can revolutionize the way you work? If you enjoy what you hear and interested to buy the book, we've included a link to the book in the description below. Now, let's get started. The Phoenix Project 2013 presents methods for combining development and IT operations, teams within a company's IT department to enhance communication efficiency, accelerate work processes, and create maximum value. These methods are collectively known as DevOps and are introduced through a fictional yet highly realistic scenario that helps organizations adapt flexibly to market changes or pressures. Gene Kim is a renowned CTO, researcher, and author. He is the founder of cybersecurity company Tripwire and led the company for 13 years. Kim has published 6 books, including The Unicorn Project and the DevOps Handbook. Since 2014, he has chaired the DevOps Enterprise Summit, focusing on exploring technological transformations in large organizations. Kevin Behr is an IT management expert with over 25 years of experience. He founded the Institute for IT Process and serves as the CEO of Praxis Flow LLC, a consulting firm specializing in IT design and strategy. Behr is also a co-author of the Visible Ops Handbook. George Spafford is currently the research director at Gartner, responsible for DevOps and Devs. He has published numerous articles and books on IT management, including the Visible Ops Handbook and Visible Ops Security. Parts Unlimited, a multi-industry company in the automotive manufacturing and retail sector, is implementing a new IT project called the Phoenix Project. The project aims to seamlessly integrate the company's retail and e-commerce channels to create a competitive advantage and increase customer reach. The Phoenix Project plays a vital role in the company's success, but its progress is slow, and the budget has exceeded expectations. Therefore, the CEO is looking for someone who can take responsibility for turning the situation around. This person will have 90 days to improve the situation. Otherwise, the entire IT department faces the risk of job losses. Although this story is somewhat fictional, the issues and solutions it addresses are very real, something anyone in the IT industry can relate to. The following sections describe how conflicts between development and IT operations can lead to failure, not just for the IT department but for the entire company. It also reveals how a practice called DevOps can bring high performance, increased value, and minimize management headaches for businesses. It's Tuesday morning, and Bill is running late for work. While driving on the highway, his phone rings. He needs to meet with the CEO, Steve, as soon as he arrives at the office. I'm definitely getting fired, Bill thinks. It's not a huge surprise. As the head of a mid-level tech team at Parts Unlimited, Bill has always been proud of his work. He's built a reputation as reliable, efficient, and straightforward. It's no surprise, he used to be a Marine. But Parts Unlimited has been struggling lately. Bill looks around at the nearly empty parking lot. Competitors are constantly innovating, while his company seems to be falling behind. With layoffs over the past few years, Bill's department is doing more with fewer resources. But Steve doesn't fire him. Instead, he promotes Bill to Vice President of IT Operations. Bill will report directly to Steve and take responsibility for ensuring the success of the Phoenix Project. The company's future depends on this project, Steve says, and Bill knows this. The company needs a place for customers to shop both online and in traditional stores. If not, there will be no customers. The company won't survive. Bill didn't want the promotion. He'll now be responsible for cleaning up the mess in the company's vast IT systems. So, he's horrified when he realizes he's agreed to Steve's offer. Where should he even start? The entire IT system is a mess. John from the security department is constantly causing Sev1 outages, serious issues that everyone has to scramble to fix because he's bypassed proper authorization procedures to speed up the implementation of what he considers critical product development changes. Of course, the IT operations department never gets a chance to review these changes first. They don't have a testing environment because there's no budget for it. Meanwhile, Patty, the director of IT support services, informs Bill that changes have never been documented in written guidelines. No one wants to waste time using the company's complicated change management tools, and no one attends the weekly Change Advisory Board (CAB) meetings. How could they possibly keep track of everything going on? Bill realizes the answer. They can't. It's no wonder things have gotten this bad. Bill looks at his desk. His old laptop displays a blue screen of death, so he just received a replacement. At least it's 10 years old, a big, heavy dinosaur. Half the letters on the keyboard are worn out, and the battery has just been replaced. He wonders if the universe is sending him a message. The Phoenix project is supposed to be rolled out in the next 10 days, but only 3 out of the 12 final tasks have been completed. This is due to the IT department facing urgent issues. Brent, the project's lead engineer, is the one handling these problems. Bill can't understand how one person can endure so much pressure from the entire organization. Brent has the talent to solve any problem he encounters, and that's why he's always under pressure from everyone. As Bill starts his new tasks, he is informed that he needs to meet Eric, an executive board candidate who is said to have a wealth of knowledge in technology. When Bill arrives at the meeting room, he finds a man in wrinkled pants and a denim shirt picking out donuts. Have they delivered already? Bill wonders as the man starts choosing donuts for himself. To Bill's surprise, the delivery man turns around, extends his hand, and says, "I'm Eric." Eric quickly begins explaining the issues the IT department is facing. He points out that there's a misconception that IT is purely a knowledge-based job, one that doesn't require standards or documentation, but in reality I can learn a lot from manufacturing operations. To demonstrate this, Eric invites Bill to visit a factory. In just 5 minutes, they arrive at one of Parts Unlimited's manufacturing plants. Inside, Eric introduces Bill to the theory of constraints. In most factories, only a few resources, materials, machines, or people determine the output of the entire system. These are the bottlenecks or constraints. To maximize efficiency, it's essential to identify these constraints first. Without knowing where the constraint is, you won't know where to improve. Any improvement made outside of the constraint will be meaningless. Imagine it like an assembly line. If improvements are made after the constraint, it just results in more waiting time. If improvements are made before the constraint, it only leads to increased inventory. The next step is to exploit the constraint. Your constraint should never be idle or waiting for other resources, and it must always address the highest priority commitments. Finally, everything depends on the constraint. The slowest speed will dictate the pace of the entire team, so make sure the person moving slowest is prioritized. In other words, allocate all tasks based on the speed the constraint can handle. Bill realizes that Brent, the problem solver for everyone, is their constraint, that SY changes that should take only 30 minutes are taking Brent a whole week to complete. Brent is always working at or above 100%, so any work assigned to him has to wait unless it's an emergency. Everything makes sense now. Bill needs to figure out how to adjust the workflow to match Brent's speed. Who would have thought that working in IT would be like running a factory? The Phoenix project is set to launch in the next few days, but the project management meeting isn't going smoothly. Sarah, from the retail operations department, insists on launching the product according to the original plan, despite Bill's suggestion for more time. When she criticizes the IT operations team for being slow, Bill can't help but sigh. He's used to situations like this. The project can't be delayed because of commitments to customers or Wall Street. Developers dominate the schedule, leaving no time for proper testing. As a result, shortcuts are taken and the final software product often ends up unstable or even unusable. Who ends up pulling all-nighters, constantly rebooting servers, and using makeshift solutions to fix poorly written code? That's the IT operations team. Bill is reflecting on what Eric said about 4 types of work. Eric explained, seriousness and discipline can only take you so far. Bill realizes that only when he understands what work really means for the IT operations team will he be able to successfully address issues related to project handoff, downtime, and project compliance. Bill told Eric that deploying the Phoenix project was one type of work, but Eric was unimpressed. Eric explained that the company's official initiatives or business projects are just one of 4 types of work. Bill is now trying to figure out what the second type of work is. And then it clicks. The second type of work is internal IT projects, those infrastructure or IT operations projects created by previous business projects. These also include improvement initiatives like automating deployment processes or creating new environments. Internal projects are usually not managed centrally, which makes their workflows difficult to control. The third type of work involves changes typically the result of business and internal projects. These are any activities that might impact the services provided. Because changes in IT operations and development are tracked in separate systems, errors and wasted time often occur, especially when it comes to handoffs. Finally, the fourth type of work is unplanned work. This involves addressing incidents or emergencies caused by the first 3 types of work, and it always interferes with planned work commitments. This is what's causing the delays in the Phoenix project launch. Unplanned work hinders your ability to achieve your goals. In that sense, it's anti-work, so you need to find ways to eliminate it. Life isn't perfect. Things won't always go as planned, and unplanned work will always show up. The important thing is being able to handle it effectively, starting with identifying where it comes from. It's often the result of technical debt you've incurred by taking convenient shortcuts that ultimately turn out to be foolish. Like financial debt, technical debt accrues compound interest over time. If you don't pay it off, your entire effort will be spent paying the interest in the form of unplanned work. Bill had been relentlessly applying Eric's lessons. However, Steve, the company's CEO, intervened and decided to continue following the traditional way of doing things. Despite time constraints, the result was unexpected. The Phoenix project failed disastrously. Without hesitation, Bill decided to walk away. With Bill's absence, the project only worsened. Different departments, like IT operations and software development, were trying to impose order on the chaos, but they frequently clashed and blamed each other. They needed Bill, and with a bit of persuasion and a tempting offer, Bill decided to return. When Bill entered the meeting room, Steve was sharing stories about his difficult childhood. He was the first in his poor family to attend college. Bill wasn't fond of these emotional stories, but he knew that to save Parts Unlimited, they had to change. So, all the department heads gathered to discuss Steve's favorite book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Steve explained that trust is the foundation of team spirit, which is necessary to solve any complex business problem. Therefore, a lack of trust is the first dysfunction of a team. Leaders can get bogged down in conflict and inefficiency simply due to a lack of trust, and this affects the teams beneath them. So, how do you build trust? Steve argued that it starts with vulnerability. He guided them through an exercise where each person shared personal stories about their past and what motivated them, highlighting the vulnerability within each person. Fear of conflict is the second dysfunction. Avoiding difficult conversations and accepting false harmony can lead to negative consequences. Open discussions about contentious issues might be difficult, but if you embrace conflict, it can foster growth. The third dysfunction is lack of commitment. When a team doesn't truly commit to decisions, ambiguity and apathy emerge in the work environment. Avoiding accountability is the fourth dysfunction. Not holding teammates accountable or failing to criticize. Irresponsible behavior lowers the standards within the company culture. Finally, lack of attention to results is the fifth dysfunction. When personal interests or status are placed above the team's success, we can never create a win-win situation. The Phoenix project is scheduled to launch in the next few days, but the project management meeting is not going well. Sarah from the retail operations department insists on launching the product according to the original plan, despite Bill's suggestion for more time. When she criticizes the IT operations team for being slow, Bill can't help but sigh. He's used to this kind of situation. The project can't be delayed because of promises to customers or Wall Street. Developers control the schedule, leaving no time for proper testing. As a result, irrational shortcuts are taken, and the final software product often ends up unstable or even unusable. Who ends up pulling all-nighters, constantly rebooting servers, and using temporary solutions to fix poor code? That's the IT operations team. Bill reflects on what Eric had said about the 4 types of work. Eric had explained, Seriousness and discipline can only take you so far. Bill realizes that only when he understands what the real work of the IT operations team is, can he successfully address the issues surrounding project handoffs, downtime, and project compliance. Bill told Eric that deploying the Phoenix project was one type of work, but Eric wasn't impressed. Eric explained that the company's official initiatives or business projects are only one of the 4 types of work. Bill is now trying to figure out what the second type of work is. Then it hits him. The second type of work is internal IT projects, such as infrastructure or IT operations projects created by previous business projects. These also include improvement initiatives like automating deployment processes or creating new environments. Internal projects are usually not managed centrally, making their workflows difficult to control. The third type of work involves changes usually the result of business and internal projects. These are any activities that could affect the services being provided. Because changes in IT operations and development are tracked in separate systems, errors and time wasting often occur, especially during handoffs. Finally, the fourth type of work is unplanned work. This involves dealing with incidents or emergencies caused by the first 3 types of work, and it always interferes with planned work commitments. This is what's causing the delays in the Phoenix project launch. Unplanned work hinders your ability to achieve your goals. In that sense, it's anti-work, so you need to find ways to eliminate it. Life isn't perfect. Things won't always go as planned, and unplanned work will always appear. The important thing is being able to handle it effectively, starting with identifying where it comes from. It's often the result of technical debt that you incurred by taking convenient shortcuts that ultimately turn out to be foolish. Like financial debt, technical debt accumulates compound interest over time. If you don't pay it off, your whole effort will be spent paying the interest in the form of unplanned work. Eric compares this method to driving a 2007 Suzuki Hayabusa dragster motorcycle, a bike capable of reaching over 230 miles per hour, with a 6-speed gearshift and no reverse gear. According to Eric, the workflow in IT should also have no reverse gear. Anything delayed, whether due to mistakes or ambiguity, is a waste. Ideally, work should continue without any setbacks or stagnation. He goes on to use the example of oil changes and vehicle maintenance to illustrate the continuous improvement process outlined in the second method. Currently, the Phoenix project's release time is 9 months. However, if Bill wants to improve product quality from the very beginning and ensure continuous progress, this time frame is too long. He needs to speed up the feedback loop from customers or IT operations to the development team. Eric says the goal is to create single-piece flow, which means moving one product unit through various processes. By reducing waiting time between steps, you can optimize throughput, limit work in progress (WIP), and minimize errors. He provides an example from manufacturing. Through a series of improvements, Toyota achieved single-piece flow and reduced the time it took to switch over the labeling process from 3 days to under 10 minutes. Note: single-piece flow is a principle where businesses focus on completing one product unit at each step. Instead of producing large batches, implementing single-piece flow helps businesses eliminate waiting and inventory problems. Ideally, production time can be reduced to just 10% of the initial production time. In it, single-piece flow can be achieved through continuous delivery, emphasizing 3 things. First, small product batch sizes. Working with smaller product batches allows for quicker feedback loops and adjustments if needed. Second, stop the production line when a problem arises. This means not starting new work until the build, test, or deployment processes are successful. Third, create quick, automated tests to ensure the source code is always ready for deployment. Remember, development doesn't end when the code is written. The code is only done when it's been tested and works as intended. Eric suggests changing the Phoenix project's release timeline. Instead of releasing once every 9 months, Bill should aim to release 10 times a day. Bill thinks this is impossible. However, this is exactly what Flickr achieved in 2009. Back then, most IT organizations released quarterly or annually, but with collaboration between development, IT operations, and the business. And by applying the second method, Flickr managed to release 10 times a day. Today, that number is even higher. Companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Google, who have adopted DevOps processes and culture, release thousands of updates. a day while maintaining stability and security. Bill was immersed in admiring his shiny new laptop. All his applications and data were stored on it. His email was working fine. Everything was perfect. In other words, the computer was running smoothly. If his old laptop symbolized the mistakes of Parts Unlimited, this new laptop is a symbol of the accomplishments his team has achieved in the past few months. The number of SEV1 incidents had decreased by 2/3, and the time taken to resolve issues had been halved. The ticket management system had been improved, eliminating unnecessary tasks. The process of environment setup and product builds had been standardized to ensure that development and IT operations worked in sync without discrepancies. The development team, together with the security department, was now responsible for proactive projects, rather than just securing things post-deployment. They had reduced 75% of the security-related work, allowing them to focus their energy on other goals. All of these improvements had made the project move faster. The Phoenix project was running smoothly. Everyone knew their responsibilities, and they felt satisfied and happy with their work. Through the third method, they were creating innovation like never before. According to the third method, if you're not progressing, you're falling behind. There are 3 key elements. The first is experimentation. To outpace your competitors, you need to experiment more than they do. This requires a spirit of innovation and a willingness to take risks. At Parts Unlimited, there was a new project named Unicorn focused on innovation. Using data and environments cloned from the Phoenix project, engineers had created an identical, yet independent database, allowing them to continuously develop and test things like customer-facing promotions, without directly impacting the application. The second element involves embracing failure. To achieve this goal, Parts Unlimited launched the Simian Army Chaos Monkey project, aimed at creating severe faults to disrupt processes or entire servers. Initially, this was chaotic. However, as development and IT operations collaborated to make the code and infrastructure more secure, their IT services became immune to errors. The third element is prioritizing the improvement of daily work over simply completing daily tasks. At Parts, all managers are required to improve some aspect of their work even, if it's a small change every 2 weeks. This improvement cycle, called kata, ensures that the system is constantly under pressure and must evolve. In martial arts, kata is the practice of a form until it becomes instinct. Habits are the key to mastery. Studies show that practicing 5 minutes each day is more effective than practicing 3 hours a week. In other words, the more regularly you practice, the better your results. In today's tech world, IT is not just a department, it's a skill like reading and writing. Managers must grasp this skill to take calculated risks, which are essential to beating competitors. When businesses and IT departments realize that they cannot be separated and apply DevOps principles, the entire organization becomes a winner. In today's tech-driven world, the IT department has become the cornerstone of every business. Therefore, when there's an imbalance in communication and workflow between the development and IT operations teams, the consequences can be severe. However, internal chaos doesn't have to be an insurmountable issue. You can apply DevOps, a comprehensive IT strategy focused on the 3 methods. The principles of DevOps emphasize the importance of short feedback loops, effective communication, and a culture of experimentation, iteration, and improvement. By implementing these processes, you can elevate the performance of your IT department and the entire business. The Kanban board not only helps prevent work bottlenecks and enhances productivity at the organizational level, but can also boost individual work performance. It helps you commit to doing the right amount of work and clearly illustrates your progress. Instead of using a to-do list, use an empty wall and some sticky notes. Categorize all your tasks into 3 columns: ready, in progress, and done. Limit your work in progress, BIP, to about 4 or 5 tasks at any given time, and you'll be amazed by the results. As you make progress, those notes will move from left to right, and you'll achieve your goals faster than ever. The Phoenix Project by Gene Kim, Kevin Behr, and George Spafford is a thought-provoking novel that not only offers a deep dive into the world of IT and software development, but also delivers a powerful message about teamwork, communication, and business success. The story is set in a large company struggling to get a crucial IT project, known as the Phoenix Project, off the ground. Bill, The protagonist is unexpectedly thrust into a leadership role after the project's failures begin to threaten the company's survival. He must work with a dysfunctional team, overcome obstacles like technical debt, and manage internal politics while learning the intricacies of DevOps practices. What stands out in the Phoenix Project is its ability to demystify the complexities of IT operations and development. The book seamlessly blends technical concepts with human drama, making it accessible even to those who may not be deeply immersed in the tech world. It offers practical insights into improving workflows, streamlining communication, and optimizing team performance through the application of DevOps principles. The narrative of the book emphasizes the importance of collaboration between development, IT operations, and business teams. It shows how siloed work structures can slow down progress, and how bridging these gaps can lead to faster, more efficient project delivery. The authors present a solid case for the value of continuous improvement and iterative progress, making it clear that success in modern enterprises is more about adapting to change than following rigid protocols. In terms of character development, Bill's growth from a frustrated IT manager to a visionary leader is compelling. His journey isn't just about solving technical problems, it's about changing the culture within the company and motivating the team to adopt new ways of thinking. The inclusion of real-world challenges such as stakeholder management, meeting deadlines, and working under pressure adds a layer of realism that readers can relate to, even if they aren't in the IT industry. Overall, The Phoenix Project is not just a book for tech enthusiasts, it's a must-read for anyone interested in improving organizational efficiency, fostering teamwork, and understanding how modern businesses can thrive in an increasingly complex world. The lessons about managing change, optimizing processes, and leading with empathy make it an invaluable resource for anyone in a managerial or leadership position. Thank you for listening to the condensed version of The Phoenix Project by Jean Kim, Kevin Behr, and George Spafford. This content was produced by Lee. To support the authors and learn more about the book, you can purchase the physical book by clicking on the link in description below. Thank you and enjoy your reading experience.